is definitely going to be more of a serious video, so if you're looking for more of me just being a dumbass and thinking I'm funny when I'm not, this video is definitely not for you. And just a quick trigger warning before we get into it, this does involve grooming, murder, sexual assault, all of that stuff. And this video might be shorter than my others because it's a very recent situation and I'm just covering what we know now. So without further ado, I won't keep you waiting any longer. Let's begin. Usually, there comes a point where somebody reaches enough success that their entire life becomes an open book to the public. And that means secrets they would have taken to the grave no longer become secrets, but rather become widely known facts that are scrutinized by everyone. And no longer is the only spotlight they have on the stage, but rather there becomes a spotlight on their whole existence. Wilbur Soot was found to be an abuser. R. Kelly took advantage of minors and other women. Kanye West is incredibly anti-Semitic. And today, under the spotlight of artists found to be terrible people, is David, spelt D4vd. For those that are unaware, something happened recently with the artist David, again spelt D4vd, but it's pronounced David, who is a very popular pop artist, and if you don't know who that is, yes you do. Let me refresh your memory. He wrote Romantic Homicide, which went viral on social media, especially TikTok. At one point that goes, "In the back of my mind, you died, and I didn't even cry, not a single tear." Keep that in mind because we will be coming back to his music a little bit later in this video. On the 8th of September, a body of a teenage girl was found in the trunk of a Tesla that was registered in David's name, and the body has been identified as 15-year-old Celeste Rivas, and she had been reported missing last year at only 13 years old, but was never found until she was found dead in that trunk. Her body wrapped in plastic and her remains not intact, which the body was so decomposed it took them longer to identify it than if it were a body that had just been murdered. It's important to note that medical examiners said the body is 15 years old, but according to them, she didn't even make it to 15. She was estimated to have been dead since she was around 14. They only discovered it because the car had been towed by police a couple of days prior, and people complained of a foul odor coming from the trunk of a car that smelled like human remains. But let's take you back to before the alleged murder even took place. Despite all the evidence, I still have to say alleged because no arrests have been made and no trial has been taken place, and this is, of course, an ongoing investigation. David had reportedly allegedly been dating this girl since she was only about 11 or 12, and she had been going on trips with him to LA, and law enforcement has released a statement saying that she had a very troubled home life and would often run away because of it, which is absolutely not her fault. She was a young girl trying to navigate her life and escape, and her life was tragically cut short. Her friends apparently knew about this, but David would pay them to basically shut up and not tell anybody about their relationship. David would also post pictures of them on his private story together on Instagram and other socials, being all lovey-dovey together, that he has now deleted. He has since deleted those pictures. Now, here's where it gets even crazier. David had a Discord server because, of course, he did. And some screenshots were taken by those who were part of the server. One such screenshot includes someone asking David to drop his song about the missing girl named Celeste, and David has an unreleased song that is titled Celeste, with lyrics such as, "Oh Celeste, the girl with my name tattooed on her chest. Smell her on my clothes like cigarettes. I hear her voice each time I take a breath. I'm obsessed." And for context for the tattoo line, Celeste was partially identified because of a tattoo on her finger saying "shh," which is matching with the same tattoo that David has. And she also had his name tattooed on her ring finger. Celeste was also reportedly in the Discord server with David. Some DMs between members also took place, where one confirmed he was dating a girl named Celeste, and this was widely known with mods and other members who never reported that she was missing or that he was dating a literal child. They supposedly met when she was 11 and started dating when she was about 12 or 13, and he was literally 17. On the server, there were also some people saying things like, Celeste is cooked. I wonder what that could possibly mean. One of the mods also asked, how much do you think David is going to pay us? To which someone else responded, $0, and they continued to talk about him potentially paying them, covering up what happened to Celeste, and clearly being more interested in the money they could get from it than the girl who's literally dead and missing. A deleted stream clip from David's Twitch also resurfaced, in which he asked mods to delete all VODs and clips once the stream ended, and in that stream, he was with a girl who not only looked exactly like Celeste, and someone in the chat even mentions that her name is Celeste. On the server, people were also accusing Celeste of lying about her age, but everyone, let me ask you something. In what fucking world, in what universe, does this look like someone who is the age of consent in any way? She looks like a young girl, and there's something wrong with anyone who disagrees with that. That is a baby, that is a child, and one that never got to grow up. In addition, another unreleased song from David resurfaced from earlier this year in March, in which he says, nobody ever caught me, but I spoke too soon in the back of a police car. I forgot whatever I knew. I ain't telling nothing. Do the same if they ask you about her. I wonder who quote-unquote her could possibly be referring to.
You ever caught me, but I've spoken too soon. In the back of a police car, I forgot whatever I knew. I ain't telling nothing. Do the same if they ask you about her. You make me feel.
Now, here's where it gets even more vile and disgusting, if that's possible. In that Discord server I mentioned earlier, David had confirmed that he and Celeste had supposedly had a child on the way, meaning she was pregnant and only 13 at the time, while he was again about 17 to 18. That is utterly disgusting and makes this whole thing even more cruel and evil than it already was. A 17 to 18-year-old cannot have sex with a 13-year-old. That is grape. She could not consent to that. That is literally grape and nothing less than that. So even if by some bullshit he's found to not be guilty of the murder, he's still a disgusting PDF file who deserves to rot in hell for what he did. In addition, his song Romantic Homicide became a top 10 on the US Apple Music charts for the first time after this whole thing was revealed. Monsters like to always say that SA allegations or abuse allegations ruin lives, but no, he's becoming richer, and I'd advise you to stop listening to his music and making him richer, because then he knows that he can get away with it. As of right now, law enforcement is waiting for what the medical examiner finds on Celeste's autopsy, and from different reports, it seems as if only her head and torso was found wrapped in plastic, but not the arms or legs.
From the publications I'm reading, it appears that only her torso and her head wrapped in plastic were found in the trunk.
Officers also raided the home he was staying in and seized his computer as evidence, so hopefully we will get some more information from that. David has since canceled the rest of his US tour and world tour. His label company has paused the release on his upcoming album, and companies are actively stopping collaborations with him, including clothing collaborations, which he fully deserves that and more. Now, what do I believe? I believe that he's definitely a PDF file. He confirmed enough in his Discord server and on other socials about that. He was dating a 13-year-old who could not consent while he was an adult. Do I believe he murdered this poor innocent girl? It's certainly one too many occurrences for it to solely be a coincidence, and that is what I'll say about that. I believe David is a disgusting individual, and anybody who helped to cover up for him is also a disgusting person. They don't deserve rights, and they should all be locked up for life without a choice. Because did Celeste get a choice? No, she didn't. I don't wish death upon people, because death is the easy way out, and they deserve to live in misery and suffer just like Celeste suffered. I will be keeping an eye on this to see what else is discovered, and I will potentially give updates too, so be on the lookout for that just in case. I love you all, stay safe, and never let anybody take your crown. Okay, so I recorded this days ago, and we have new information since autopsy results were in fact released. 1, apparently Celeste wasn't pregnant and hadn't been pregnant in the past year, but still fucked up to lie about and just overall weird. David was also clearly messing around with someone underage, so that doesn't really help his case much. 2, toxicology results are still pending and cause of death remains classified as deferred, which means the autopsy was done, but the examiner couldn't determine a cause of death and is ordered for additional testing. And deferred cases can take several months before a conclusion is reached, so we will probably have to wait a very long time for actual results. And that is the information that we have so far.